Hi everyone, this is Mahesh Kamath here, founder of MAK Trading School. At MAK Trading School, we follow a simple strategy that is a supply and demand trading strategy. So however, to make this simple and more effective, we have developed different kinds of tools which will help a supply demand trader. So the supply and demand zone indicator, which automatically plots supply demand zones on trading view charts, has really helped a lot of supply demand zone traders. However, this video is not about the indicator, but it is about a tool that we have recently launched. A challenge that most supply demand traders face is how to track so many symbols. Where are good quality supply and demand zones? When do we come to know that a stock is near a supply zone or inside a supply, or near a demand zone or inside a demand zone? So to address that issue, we have come up with the supply demand zone screener. This screener will notify the user about stocks which are already inside zones or near to quality supply and demand zones. So this screener also works on trading view charts. It's again an invite only script. You will not be able to see it under the public library. So once you subscribe, you will have access to the supply and demand zone screener. So I wanted to tell you this even works on a basic plan of trading view. So the chart that you see on my screen is the basic plan of trading view. And at the top, there is a toolbar. Over there, there's an option that says indicators. So let me click on that. Once I click, under invite only scripts. So once you have subscribed, you'll have access to the screener. So let me click from here and apply it to the chart. So once I applied the screener to this chart, it is currently loading. You will see that. So what is this doing? On the daily time frame, it is scanning for the predefined stocks. There are settings in the indicator from which I can customize the list that the indicator needs to scan on. So over here, it is now throwing up a list which is shown in the table here. So currently, since this is on a basic plan, you'll keep getting this ad pop-ups. So what I'll do is I'll move to my premium account, and from there I will highlight the various settings of this particular screener. So same screener is already applied on this chart. So there is a gear icon. Let's click on that. It opens up the settings window. So what things can be customized? One is the display table. So this table that you see to the right hand side, the size of the table can be customized as per your requirement. The position, by default, it is set to top right hand corner. So I prefer to keep it there at the top right corner. You can try different positions of the table. Colors. So colors for demand by default are green. Color for supply is red. I prefer to keep it that way. Now coming to the scanning parameters. So the first condition says proximity percentage less than or equal to. So what does this scan for? So currently it is scanning for stocks which are within that 1% range from a supply or a demand zone. So that means it should be 1% or less than 1% away from a quality supply or a demand zone. So this can be customized. If you want something which is very close to supply demand, you can reduce the percentage, get it down to 0.5, 0.5%. And if you're looking for stocks which are already inside supply demand, then we can just make this 0. So if you get it to 0, it will just throw up a list of stocks which are already inside a supply or a demand zone. Basis for supply demand zone violation by default is on high and low. So I'll keep it at high and low. So if you see, once I've changed the percentage to 0, it is throwing up a list of stocks which are already inside zones. So currently, on this watch list that I'm scanning, there is nothing inside supply. You have stocks which are already inside a demand zone. Other parameters, explosiveness of the zone. So as I have told you earlier in the indicator video, that on a time frame that is 75 minutes and above. So 75, 125 daily, weekly, monthly. On that, I like to keep this explosiveness factor as 1.2. On smaller time frames, that is your 15-minute chart, 30-minute chart, 10-minute charts, you can increase the explosiveness to 1.5 because you want to be very choosy about the level on a smaller time frame. Max number of base candles by default is at 6. I like to keep it at 6. And here you have a choice of 40 symbols. So currently, these are the 40 stocks that this screener is screening for. You can change the stock. Just click on the icon here. Select whichever stock that you want. So let's change from Aarti Industries to Reliance. And click on Reliance. It gets added to the list. So this is how you can customize your list of 40 stocks. So let's change the proximity percentage back to 1%. So I'm looking for stocks which are within a 1% range from a quality supply or a quality demand zone. So I'll make this as 1. And this is a parameter that you can try different settings, whatever suits you. So generally 1% near a level is a good alert. One more thing that I wanted to let you all know over here is, it is preferable that all the 40 symbols are from one exchange. And the chart that you're applying it to also is from that exchange. So that is, in case you're looking for stocks, apply this screener to a stock chart. If you're looking for Forex pairs, apply it to a Forex chart and use all symbols only from the Forex segment. So that will improve the functionality of this screener. So currently, I am scanning for stocks which are listed on NSE. So these are the 40 stocks that the screener is running on. Let me just click on OK. So now you see the ones on top in red are in proximity to supply. So Bank Nifty is 0.27% near supply. So this is dynamic. It keeps changing as per the last traded price. The ones in green, they are in proximity to a demand zone. So Atul Industries, Bata India, Adani Ports, Asian Paint, they are already inside a demand zone. The check mark and in-DZ, that means they're already inside a demand zone. Bajaj Auto is about 0.6% away from a demand zone. So now out of 40 stocks, you have a short list of only 6 stocks which are close to supply or demand. So then you need not focus on the rest 34. You can only look at these 6 stocks. What you do is add them to a watch list. So there is a likelihood that you may get trade opportunities in these 6 stocks which are close to supply or demand. So let's check a few of those. Like Adani Ports, it says is already inside a demand zone. So I have one more chart opened up here. I will change it to Adani Ports and let's check whether it is inside a daily demand zone. So Adani Ports, as you see, the current candle is inside a demand zone. So rally base rally, we already had multiple tests of this level. So blindly we will not trade just because it is inside a demand zone. This is a starting point. So from here, you need to apply your supply demand trading rules about how is the quality of the zone, the location of the zone, what is the trend and all those factors. But the screener is a starting point. It gives you a short list of stocks which are already inside supply or inside demand or near to supply or near to demand zones. This will work on any time frame. But the lower time frames that you go, it has to compute more data. So it takes a little more time to load. So let me now check on weekly time frame. So in this 40 stocks, on the weekly time frame, it says these are the stocks which are in proximity to supply or demand within 1% range. So Chambal Fertilizer is already in a weekly supply. Let's check. Chambal Fertilizers in a weekly supply level. Let's change it to weekly. So if you see this, it's a rally-based drop weekly supply zone, and this is already inside a weekly supply. So we have a starting point, and then from here, we can build on to our trade. We can even go down to smaller time frames. However, time taken for loading on a smaller time frame will be slightly longer. Let's check on 75 minutes. Which are the stocks which are near supply or near demand or already inside supply or demand zone? So the indicator, the screener is loading. So let's wait for the results to show up. Yeah. So now we have a list of stocks out of the 40 stocks which are within that 1% range. So if you find this a big list, you can even further filter down by reducing it from 1% to 0.5%. So the moment you change it to 0.5%, the stocks like Atul, which is 0.6, Asian Paint 0.64, all this will not be there in the list anymore. About India, which is 0.64 near supply, Bosch Limited, it's 0.75% near supply level. So those will go out of the window. So currently, these are the stocks which are within 1% range of a supply or a demand zone. So now the question would be, can we track only 40 instruments at one time? Friends, if you want to track more instruments, all you need to do is apply this particular screener once again and choose a different set of 40 stocks. So what do I mean by that? From the indicator list, I'll go to my favorites. I've already marked screener as my favorite. I'll apply it here. So you see it's loading. So I'll just change the position because I do not want it to overlap. So I'll make this bottom left corner. And from here, I can change these 40 symbols. So currently this is scanning for 40 symbols starting from A to C. We can change these symbols. Let's change a few of them. Let's say Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Reliance. So like this, you can customize your list of 40 stocks. And let's apply this. So you see this particular screener is loading. So let's wait for it to show up. Once the results show up, it will be to the bottom left-hand corner. So you see to the left-hand side, there is one more window. Most of the stocks would be similar because we have not changed all the stocks in that 40 list. So once you do that, now you are actually tracking 80 symbols, 40 symbols to the right-hand side, 40 symbols to the left. And from here, you will have your results. Only thing is, if you keep adding too many screeners on one chart, the chart space may not be sufficient for you to see the results very clearly. So what I have done, I have created different templates. So under indicator templates, I have my commodity screener, forex screener, stock screener from A to G. I'm screening only NSE FNO stocks, A to G, H to N, O to Z. So now let's look at the forex screener on a daily time frame. So I will apply the indicator template. So now this is going to screen on 75 minutes on the forex chart. So forex, I do not look at 75 minutes. Let's change this to daily chart. So daily, it will throw up a list of forex pairs which are near supply or a near demand zone. So this says GBP USD is already in supply, Euro JPY is already in supply zone. And these are the pairs which in red are close to supply levels. The pairs which are in green are close to demand level. So let us check Euro JPY, whether it is inside a supply level on a daily time frame. So forex pairs, Euro JPY on a daily time frame. So if you see, there's a rally base drop supply level. So you already have one reaction from this supply. Now prices again come back to the supply level. So now you need to apply your supply demand trading strategy and decide whether you have a trading opportunity. So there are different templates. You can create your own templates as per whatever you require. So forex currently only 18 pairs is which I'm scanning. Commodities, hardly 10, 12 commodities that you look for. Stocks, yes, about 190 stocks that I am scanning. So roughly about 60, 70 in each template. So this is how, friends, I would use the screener to notify me about stocks or symbols which are in proximity to supply and demand zones. So the screener, in conjunction with the supply demand zone indicator, they both form a very powerful combo. Both used together will make life very simple for a supply demand trader. So you do not need to sit in front of the screen and spend a lot of time on analysis. The indicator and the screener will throw up results in a matter of seconds. This will make life really easy for a supply demand trader. So if you find the screener handy and you want to subscribe to it, the link will be shared in the description. Please visit our website, maktradingschool.com. There are various subscription plans. So as per your requirement, you can choose whichever plan suits you. And in case you haven't subscribed to our channel, also do subscribe. We keep sharing a lot of informative video on our YouTube channel. So happy trading, friends, and see you all soon. Thank you.